Hello there, welcome to Critic Reviews, and today we're taking a look at Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire. This was a much harder film to review than it really should have been. After all, GXK is not a complex movie, not even slightly. It should barely warrant a 15-word review, it's just that kind of a movie. But there is a fly in the ointment, and that fly is a rather large Japanese masterpiece called Godzilla -1, which deserves and will get its own video. This film has potentially ruined the Monsterverse for me, with its complex human plot and deep themes. Suffice to say, GXKNE has none of these. So how do I feel about it? Has me conflicted. Can I really compare it to Godzilla -1, or appreciate it after seeing what can be done? Or do I just resent its existence? After consideration, I've decided it's okay. After all, just because you savour an expertly prepared platter of sashimi, lovingly and carefully crafted with the finest ingredients and prepared with genuine pride and thought, doesn't mean you cannot also appreciate a great big burger, dripping with sauce and stuffed with toppings, with no other aim but to immediately satiate your cravings and not be considered for even a moment after you've finished it. So, here we go. GK Burgers, A New Empire. Now that's a marketing tie that was missed. The film starts with the two titular titans separate, for the good of all major cities and landmarks anywhere. Godzilla is taking on various rivals upstairs and being king of the monsters, while Kong is well out of his way in the Hollow Earth, doing ape things and being the best actor in the film. Of course, as you'll have seen from the trailer, things don't stay that way, and Kong bumps into something he cannot handle on his own. So the two buddy up, in the very loosest sense of the word, and join forces in order to take it on. Now that's a summary of the plot. There are some humans in it as well, but we don't really need to worry about them too much. In fact, I am firmly of the opinion that if you remove the humans from this film, it would be much improved. Just have some exposition delivered a different way, and put some subtitles in it for what the monsters are saying to each other, you know. Smack, smack. Come on, listen, you big lizard. Bang, bang. In this film, the humans are largely there to be funny, and they're not, and to spout exposition. The characters vary from tolerable or charming to absolutely infuriating. Millie Bobby Brown decided to duck out this time, but given she then went on to star in The Execrable Damsel, I'm not sure she chose all that wisely. Thankfully, you're not here to see the tiny little people, you're here for the heavyweights. And here at least, it does deliver for the most part. The bits where the monsters are battling on screen are by far the highlights, and although this is spoiler-free review, I will say that there was a lot that was not shown in the trailer, with some elements being removed from that trailer digitally, a la Spider-Man No Way Home, where the older Spider-Men were sneakily edited out. There are enough Titan punch-ups here to satisfy, and I was thoroughly entertained any time the CGI was doing its thing. And to talk about the CGI for a moment, I was both simultaneously impressed and nonplussed with those CGI scenes. On one hand, the facial animations on the apes, yes, apes, not monkeys, I do despair for general knowledge of the media, is very impressive. As I've said, Kong is by far the most believable character in the film. You can genuinely identify exactly how he feels at any given time. Lonely, in pain, tired. It's all in his eyes. Now, when you get to the hidden ape city, again, the ape inhabitants are very well rendered and animated. It feels very much like it's harking back to the recent Planet of the Apes films. And in that, I was impressed. The expressions, the human emotion, or the humanesque emotion that is conveyed is very good. However, everything does feel fake. It's got the general impression of being a very well rendered video game cutscene, like the quality that Blizzard do. It's very, very, very good, but it doesn't feel real. Not for 1 second were my eyes fooled into thinking that anything that was happening on film, on screen, was actually real. It looks good, and you can see where the budget's been spent. It's explosive, it's bombastic, it's action-packed in a way that embarrassing nonsense like the Marvels was absolutely not. But there is a definite sense of being admittedly very well rendered, artificially constructed carnage. For example, in the final scenes where a major city is being laid waste, there is no sense of the scale of destruction. Buildings are torn apart, ripped apart, completely destroyed. Pieces of buildings are thrown about. Countless thousands of people are surely killed. Yet despite these massive objects interacting on screen, very little actual impact is achieved or registered. Now, one of the genius moves made in Godzilla -1 was to show nearly all of the destruction and action from the human perspective. You're with the people as this carnage erupts around them. Now, this allowed the budget to be kept down with very inventive use of scale props and green screen. And it gave a real sense of scale and human suffering to the events, making everything seem very real and immediate. GXK, by comparison, just seems very, very artificial. So let's talk about the script. And this is the most standard cookie-cutter Hollywood script I think I've ever encountered. I was literally saying lines in my head, I'm not an inconsiderate cinema goer, before they were even uttered on screen. It was that predictable. My eyes rolled almost to the back of my head as the head of the lead of the monitoring facility barks, "Talk to me!" right on cue as she asks for an update. Every single thing in this film happens exactly when it needs to, without exception. With the nature of the plot is basically things happen so that other things in the plot can happen later. It's sadly indicative of writing these days. It's also sadly unsurprising that every character in power is a female. The men in this are largely relegated to either monster fodder, comedy relief, or just a charming, non-threatening role. That may well be to compensate for the gargantuan non-human alpha males that dominate the rest of the film, but it is noticeable. And just one last little thing. You see this little git? He's in the film quite a lot. And by the end of it, he was absolutely intolerable. Seriously, Godzuki got nothing on this little bastard. It was like what the Disney Star Wars films did with BB-8. In the first film, The Force Awakens, you're like, oh, he's kind of cool. Sparingly used, he was massively popular. In the second film, they just used him more and more, and he got steadily more and more annoying, until eventually he shows up and saves everyone by piloting an AATST. And at that point, I just wanted the little twerp to roll off a cliff. The little mini Kong is kind of the same. Final thoughts. Godzilla x Kong is an entertaining enough film if you can just turn your brain off completely. If you try and think about it in more than the most superficial terms for even 1 second, you're likely going to lobotomize yourself. Just enjoy the monster bits, munch your popcorn, because that's what the film and its inevitable sequels, because it's made good money, is designed for. And in that sense, it succeeds. I watched, I munched, I even genuinely laughed out loud in a few scenes, although never at the humans, including one scene where Kong employs a rather unconventional weapon. You have to wait until you see it. I laughed a lot. I have to confess, entertained.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
So, should you need out of 10 score, this will get 7 Godzilla roars out of 10. It's a decent burger, but it's a crap plate of sashimi. Thanks for joining me. I'll be back with more reviews soon, and I've been Critic. Thank you.